All right, peace, family. Sean C, a.k.a. the Black Separatist, right back at you once again, live in the flesh, with another GMOGmedia TV conversation. All right, so real quick, what I want to address, and shout out to some of my subscribers. They wanted me to talk about a couple of current events that I raised a question as far as, next topics I should talk about, upcoming videos. So this is one of them. So, and I want to kind of address more than one topic in this one video and condense it down, you know what I'm saying? And, that's what I want to do with this video. But what I want to talk about is black public figures that the quote-unquote black community worships, and I'm specifically talking about people in the so-called conscious community or the black empowerment community, whatever you want to call it. But you have a lot of prominent figures who have a huge following, and a lot of us, we prop them up and we tend to worship them as opposed to, we worship them versus praising or acknowledging their work, right? It comes down to idol worship or idolatry. And that's very prominent in, like I said, in the so-called black community that I've noticed, specifically, people like Dr Boyce Watkins, with his recent controversy regarding his black business school, and how, I don't know too much about it, but what I've heard so far was that he has he started his black business school with a Asian business partner. His name is Charles Wu, I believe. And Charles Wu went on social media and talked about Boyce Watkins is actually using his methodology to promote his so-called black business school, right? And then there's people like also what I also want to talk about is people like Tariq Nasheed, very prominent figure in the so-called black conscious community, huge following. He did a recent debate with Jared Taylor. I saw the debate. I thought the debate was hilarious. It was hilarious for the simple fact that when you debate a white supremacist or a suspected white supremacist on their platform, using their resources, complaining about white supremacy, they will take you as a joke, and you will always lose. So that in itself was a joke. They did not take Tariq seriously. They were laughing at him. It was more of a roast Q&A session to break down how ridiculous white supremacy is in the eyes of a white supremacist. That's how they made Tariq feel, or look rather. That's how they made Tariq look in that so-called debate. It was actually a roast. It wasn't a debate to me. It was a roast. That's what it was. And it was hilarious roast. I was laughing at the fact that they're laughing at Tariq and breaking down his ideology. Now, there was some points in the so-called debate that were very typical for the mind of a white supremacist to come back with these talking points they love to come up with. Black on black crime, Chicago, violence, drugs, right? They always do that spiel, and then they do out the IQ. Blacks are the smartest and stuff like that. Those are very easily debunkable with science, scientific facts. I did not see Tariq break that down with science at all. That's just my take on the debate, on the so-called debate. It was a roast to me. Someone else I wanted to talk about is, someone else is prominent in what I talked about before, Dr. Umar Johnson. Obviously very prominent figure in the so-called black conscious community, right? And he had his recent fallout out with Tariq. what I've also noticed, right? And I'm pretty sure you guys notice this too. So whenever black people have infighting, right? Public figures have infighting. We go so hard at one another. So hard on one another. But the same people who complain about white supremacy and interact with a suspected white supremacist, they act subdued, very polite. That's what I've noticed. So that vitriol and that vitriol and that disdain, kind of hatred, if you will. I know hate is a strong word, but that disliking of Tariq and Dr. Umar Johnson going at each other, right? They were going in. But with the interaction that Tariq had with Jared Taylor, he was very subdued, and I mean, he was very polite, and didn't want to be portrayed as the angry black man in the eyes of white supremacy. That's what I've noticed also. So, very interesting, right? Very interesting, to say the least. Now, I say all that to say this. When you are a staunch supporter of either one of those guys, and you basically defend them no matter what, you defend them no matter what the cost, good or bad, you still defend them. That in itself is idolatry. You are worshiping the person, and it's a mindless kind of worshiping. You're not objective at all. You only see one way, and that's what you want them to be. Or how about this? Or you want them to be something you're not, or you want them to be something you can't be. So you're propping them up, right? To the point where I know you're saying to yourself, I know they can be what I want to be myself, but I can't. Right? That's what that is, in my opinion. But when you place these public figures and these prominent people with large followings, as the aforementioned names that I mentioned, you're setting yourself up for failure, because they're human. They do the same exact thing everybody else does who are Homo sapiens. Okay? They're humans. All right? They all have idiosyncrasies. They all have tendencies. They all have weaknesses. Everybody has a weakness. They all have, flaws. You name it. They're humans. So when you put too much emotional stock and vetted interest in these folks, you will set yourself up for failure. That's why I've always said I am a fan of information. I get the information from whoever source I can take it from. I'm a hunter and gatherer. That's what I said. I'm a hunter and gatherer of information. I take what I need and discard what I don't. That's what I always do. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, what prompted this video was, so a couple of folks wanted me to talk about the Dr Boyce Watkins situation and the debate between Jared Taylor and Tariq Nasheed, right? But when I checked out the videos, I looked at the comment section on Tariq Nasheed's debate on his channel versus the comment section on, I think it was Alaska, some guy who actually hosted the debate, or so-called debate. I looked at the comment section on his channel. Complete polar opposite. All right. So you have Tariq's channel, his supporters staunchly agree that Tariq won the debate hands down. Right? Then you have the other channel. I believe the channel's name is Alaska something. I don't remember, but he was the host of the so-called debate. And on his channel, you see a whole bunch of suspected white supremacists talking about Jared Taylor is great. He is gifted with words. He's such a scholar. He made Tariq look like a fool, an idiot, low IQs, IQ this, IQ that, right? And even those people right there, you know, they're idol worshiping Jared Taylor. But again, you know, when you have white identity extremists, the people who follow these white identity extremists, they worship the people who they propped up as prominent figures in a leadership position or a leadership role, and they worship them like a deity, right? Like a god. That's what they do. And it's very prevalent also in the so-called black community as well, you know. But yeah, every single one of those guys have flaws. They all are imperfect. They all have idiosyncrasies. They all have, you know, tendencies and things of that nature. So you should never prop anybody up who you feel, because they have a big following, and put them in a position that they're not equipped to handle, right? There should be no black leadership at all, unless you can lead your own household, right? I am a leader in my household, right? Father of 3 children, married to the same woman for 14 years. I'm a black leader in my household. I'm going to make sure my household is straight before I put myself out in a position where, you know, I'm considered a leader. And I know that people like Tariq and people like that don't consider themselves leaders. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the people who follow them consider them leaders. They allow them to grace those kind of titles, you know. And that should be the case, right? That should be the case. Staying on code is another thing, right? And I've done videos in the past where, you know, people say, brother, you're not on code, stuff like that, right? And my response is, yeah, I've been on code for, you know, damn near 15 years, because I've been married to the same woman for 15 years. Trials and tribulations, ups and downs, but I'm still here. And we've had in-house children, not outside of wedlock, not born outside of wedlock. So I've been on code. That's the code right there. That's the most powerful code right there. It's the black family structure. That's the most powerful code right there. The black family structure. Because the black family is the most powerful force that can fight systemic oppression, aka white supremacy. Bottom line. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to address, you know, the issues that's been happening recently with these, you know, public figures who have these huge followings. You know, don't be surprised if they make mistakes. Don't be surprised if they, you know, have some kind of scandal or whatever the case may be. Don't be surprised. You know, they're humans like everybody else. Like everybody else. They make mistakes. They wake up. You know, they do have certain routines, etc., etc. They all have flaws. So I don't put myself into, I don't allow anyone to, except my children, of course, and my family, to put myself as a leadership role. Outside of my family, that's end all be all. I'm a leader in my household. And that's what you have to be, a leader in your household. And if you're single, figure out how you can be a leader in your household. Once you have your mate, your significant other, that's when you start the process of being a leader or starting your leadership role in your household. All right? So anyway, family, those are my quick thoughts on, you know, the situation stemming around, like I said, you know, the Dr. Boyce Watkins situation and Tariq Nasheed debate and Dr. Umar Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Don't idol worship these guys. Take the information, take what you need, all right? Take what you need and discard what you don't need and keep it moving, and that's it. That's it. All right? So anyway, family, those are my quick thoughts on that. Leave your comments down below about any of what I talked about. Did you watch the debate between the Tariq Nasheed and Jared Taylor? Let me know who you thought won. Let me know what you think about Charles Wu and the Charles Wu thing with Dr. Boyce Watkins. Let me know what you guys think about the ongoing situations with Dr. Umar Johnson. Let me know how you feel in the comment section down below. I read everybody's comments all the time. So I know. I read the troll comments too. I know everything. All right? So anyway, family, Chauncey, a.k.a. the Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.